Hey guys, I'm Kelsey,
And I'm Veda.
and you are listening to the Two Without a Clue podcast.
Episode number 7.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Today we have a special, fabulous guest.
Hi guys, it's Jessie.
Who are you? Introduce yourself.
I'm Kelsey's fiance.
Who's Kelsey? I'm just kidding. All right, so today our episode is Disney themed. And Jessie and Kelsey both are obsessed with Disney. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
I think Jessie's more obsessed with Disney than I am.
Disney can have all of my money. I don't care.
And they're going to take it. Don't worry.
They will.
They will.
Yep.
All right, so before we get into what it is that we're going to be talking about Disney, we have our question of the week from the previous week. So what was our question, Kelsey?
So our question last week was, if you could have lunch with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
And it could be fictional or non-fictional, whatever you're choosing.
Yep, so it could be anyone. So Veda, why don't you start us off?
Sure, so I wasn't sure who to choose for this because obviously, I don't know. It's just hard because it literally could be anybody but just one person. So I decided I'm going to choose a K-pop idol, which is a Korean pop idol, and her name is Kim Yoo-hyun from Dreamcatcher. And she's adorable, and I really love her, and I just really want to meet her desperately. I don't know. I think it would just be nice to, have lunch with her and spend time together, I guess. What about you?
Understandable. I didn't pick, one specific person, but it's more of, a small group of people. I was thinking the FaZe Clan boys, the FaZe Clan group. And it's an esports organization. They play video games and stuff like that. And it's they just all seem like a bunch of dope people that I really want to meet one day. So
That's nice, yeah. Especially, people that you look up to or whatever. For instance, the K-pop idol that I look up to because I listen to all their music and whatnot. And it's just seeing, videos and clips and whatnot of them. It's just awesome. And then for you, obviously, watching their videos on YouTube, especially since they're, popular and a big thing, you just really want to personally get to know them. Just spend some time together. So what about you, Jessie? We're going to make you answer this question, too.
I would pick Phil Collins because he's my favorite singer, and he actually wrote some of the songs for Disney movies like Tarzan and Brother Bear and everything. So I just want to get inside his mind, and he's such a great musician. So I just want to talk to him about that.
I feel like I've heard the name before, and I know you're obsessed with Tarzan, but we're going to talk about that. Oh my God, Brother Bear. Oh yeah, but that's nice. Aw, that's cute and adorable.
He sings In the Air Tonight, so that's probably what you're thinking. I can't sing it to you because of copyright, but
copyright.
I'll play for you later.
Yes, play for me later. All right, yeah. Well, we all chose people that are alive. No dead people are coming back. Sorry, but all right, yeah, those are pretty decent answers from everybody. All right, what about our new question for this week?
So our question this week is, if you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 items would you bring with you?
I hate questions like these, to be honest, because it's well, you're on an island. There's no electricity. I'm probably going to die anyway. But, specifying items can I choose 3 people instead? Actually,
I don't know.
All right, well, we're going to be answering that next week anyway, so I have time to think about it. Yes. So do all of you who are listening. We want to hear your answers, so make sure you leave your answer down below or tag us on Twitter or Instagram of what it is that you are going to bring with you. 3 items. Think about them.
Yes.
All right, well, going into our topic of the week. Sorry.
Disney.
I guess I'm making funny faces.
Disney.
All right, well, I guess let's start about how we grew up with Disney and whatnot and childhood shows and how we just came to love it. So obviously, growing up, there's shows like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney, and those were the main 3, the big 3. channel 34, 35, and 36 if you're poor. But I don't know which one. Obviously, I don't know.
What was that?
They have weren't those Cox channels? Because like there were different channels for each provider. DirecTV was different. DirecTV had different channels. I mean, that's just in Rhode Island, so I don't know if channels were different in different states or whatever.
The channels are different in different states, because I remember, like, if I wanted to watch something when I went down to Florida to visit my grandparents or something, I, like, had to, like, go through the
TV guide.
the TV guide and figure out what channel, like, Disney and stuff was on. So it is different according to different states, but
I did not know that.
yes.
Well, the more you know.
The
So
more
I don't
you
travel,
know.
so I wouldn't know. The only like farthest that I grew up, like when growing up, I only went to Massachusetts, and obviously like those are similar. So I don't think the channel numbers changed, but I guess they're different everywhere else. It's not like I'm gonna go to Florida to visit my grandparents now and watch some Disney show. But
You don't know that.
that's true. You don't know that. I might go do that this summer. I don't know if I'm gonna go see them this summer, but it's up in the air.
Florida's really warm. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I like visiting, but not living there. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Classic.
So talking about like Disney in our childhood, it was something that I used to watch like very often, and one that I could think about like the most when I was like a youngling is The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. That's the one, like number one that I can always remember. I don't know about you guys if you have something different.
I usually watch Lizzie McGuire or That's So Raven or Sweet Life and Wizards. Like, there's so many out there that I watched. I watch way too much TV.
Yeah, I don't know what I primarily watched, but I did watch Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, That's So Raven, stuff like that. One of my favorites was probably Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, though.
I think one of my favorites I remember the most was The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, but when I got older, I started to watch more of Wizards of Waverly Place, which I think that's what Jessie was saying when she said Wizards. But I don't know. Well, I guess we can talk about like what is our favorite TV show the most, which mine I just said was Wizards of Waverly Place, and yours was The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah,
Or
probably.
Your TV show?
Probably.
Probably. What about Jessie?
Mine was Lizzie McGuire. She was just so relatable, and like growing up with her, like she was a little bit older than me, but like once I got to like her age in like the show, she was just so relatable. Like I went through the same problems as she did. Like, oh, she likes this guy, but the guy doesn't like her. He's the most popular guy, like the most good looking. Everyone loves him, you know. There's always that one kid in school, you know.
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah, for real though. One-sided feelings. Ew, those are the roughest.
Yikes.
Not that I have experienced that. But no, yeah, definitely. I remember growing up Lizzie McGuire. I always thought she was like super bipolar. Maybe it was just like a little animated character that was like kind of bratty. At least that's what I remember.
Well, that's like her thought. Like the animated character was like what she was thinking in her head, whereas like what she actually said, like that was her real, like the real person. That was Hilary Duff.
So it's like Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket is like a little conscience, like.
I haven't watched Pinocchio in a while, but I guess so.
I don't know, guys. All right, well, that's our shows. But what about movies? What's your favorite Disney movie?
Mine's definitely Tarzan, but princess movie is Little Mermaid. But like, isn't that everyone's?
No.
Like nowadays, mermaids are like everywhere. Mermaids, unicorns.
Yeah, because little kids have weird trends. But
True. Facts.
it's always about them unicorns. My favorite movie, I just actually recently watched it. I only just recently watched Moana and Coco, but I think Coco is my favorite Disney movie so far. But I do love Oliver and Company, the cat
Oliver and
movie.
Company is really good.
Aw, I love cats.
The cat and dogs. The cat like lives with dogs.
Yeah, it's like Oliver Twist, but like an animal version.
Sure.
Does nobody know what Oliver Twist is?
No.
Like, little boy, can I have some more porridge, please? And he's like a little orphan. What the heck?
Nope.
It's based on that. It's like a cat. Nobody wants him. Then he's just trying to make a living, as a little orange kitty cat in New York. And then he meets all these other orphaned, like, abandoned dogs or, like, family, whatever. And then they're, like, tight,
They tight, yo.
They tight. But, okay, well, none of y'all know Oliver Twist, but okay.
I'd have to say my favorite Disney movie is probably Moana.
That is a good one.
Moana's a really good movie. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. So those are our favorite movies and our favorite Disney shows. Now I guess we're going to throw out some Disney facts. So Jessie prepared some of the questions. Well, they're not really questions. They're kind of just like some information she got. So we have to answer them, I guess.
Do you guys know when Disney was founded? What year?
No.
Not a clue.
It was founded in 1923 by Walt Disney and his brother. Who was the star of Walt Disney before Mickey Mouse?
Oh, I don't remember.
Do you know what he is? Like what the character?
Wasn't it a rabbit?
Yeah, it was a rabbit.
Oh, God, I can't remember his name, though.
His name was Oswald, the Lucky Rabbit.
Oswald.
And it was a silent cartoon until 1928. And then he lost the rights to him because of the people he was under. He lost it in a loophole in the contract. So he made Mickey Mouse, and that's why Mickey Mouse is the star of Walt Disney now.
That's right.
How many cast members do you think run Disney World?
Oh, God.
Like hundreds. Like cast. What do you mean cast members?
Like anyone who works at Disney. So like it could be anyone from cleaning up the streets to the people who let you into the park, or quote unquote the characters.
I think like 1 million or so. I feel like for Disney, like Disney is such a huge company. So for as many people like working, like
And
I guess as you said, at the theme parks are dressing up and being characters.
And are you talking about like people who work on the movies as well, or like
No, just who work in Disney World.
in Disney World, not Disneyland?
Just Disney World.
Just Disney World.
In Florida.
Yeah, I didn't know. Okay, that makes it more specific. I don't know. I've never been, so.
I'm gonna say like 500,000.
You are way off, my friend. It is 74,000 cast members, which leads to an average of 285,000 pounds of laundry to do every day. Can you imagine doing that much laundry? I hate doing laundry to begin with, let alone 285,000 pounds.
That's
laundry.
crazy.
I wonder how much, like, water is being wasted. Because do you know, like, every time you flush the toilet, at least this is a fact I remember, that you waste a gallon of water every time you just flush the toilet? So that much clothes to be washed, like, how much water is being wasted?
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
Think of all that detergent and soap that could be used to clean animals. Dawn dish soap, you know?
Used to clean animals.
There's a lot of dirty animals out there, you know? You gotta clean them all.
Dirty animals.
You think Disney would be more pro-animal cleaning?
Yeah, but laundry has to get done. What do you mean?
Just wear it like 2 or 3 times before you wash it, you know? Like, think of all that water that could be saved.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Here's just a little fun fact for you guys. You don't have to guess, but there is an average of 210 pairs of sunglasses that are turned into the lost and found every day at Disney World.
Well, I can't even imagine, like, all the rides that people are losing hats and glasses and, like, things that kids place down and then, like, while the parents are waiting for a ride or something, and then they get up and, like, all right, let's go to this ride. And then kids, like, forget crap, like, on a bench or something. Like, oh, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, 210 pairs. That means 210 people lost their sunglasses a day.
Wow, praying for them because sunglasses can get expensive.
Right, I hope they're the cheap ones.
Yeah, right. I hope.
Like, even the cheap ones are like $10 a piece sometimes. Like, that's crazy. Oh my god.
Wow.
What do you think is the largest theme park in Disney World?
Oh, I don't know. I've never been.
Ooh. Is it water parks included or no?
Yes.
Typhoon Lagoon.
No.
Damn.
It is Animal Kingdom. So bringing it back to the animals, Veda, for you.
I love animals.
Oh, that makes sense though because of all the land that they need for the animals.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
What does Epcot stand for?
Oh God. Oh jeez.
Still don't know. I don't know a lot about Disney.
Something about a prototype of tomorrow.
Close, actually. You got 2 words right.
Uh,
Experimental prototype community of tomorrow.
That's what it is. I got 3 words right then. Prototype of tomorrow.
Okay, whatever.
Thank you very much.
How tall is the Cinderella castle?
Still don't know. I'd lose a lot of
Just-
money if this
just-
was a
just-
betting game.
Just guess.
What was the question again?
How tall is the Cinderella castle?
Oh man, that's like the one, right? Like the big main one.
That's the one.
Yeah, the one in Florida.
You know, like the one when you're watching a Disney movie and they do like the little thing, like that castle, in the intro before the film starts.
Yeah, that's the Cinderella castle. Rapunzel's castle is in no, I lied. It's not Rapunzel. It's Sleeping Beauty's castle in California.
That's awesome. Oh my god, I never knew that. I'm just gonna guess like you said feet. At least 2.
What a
Can you
guess.
imagine a 2
2
foot tall castle as the main attraction? Like the main thing you see.
Yikes. I think it's 265 feet.
Way off, my friend.
Damn.
It is 189 feet tall because if it was any taller, it would need a red flashing light at the top for airplanes. And obviously, nobody wants that on the top.
Yeah.
When was Disney Plus launched? In U.S., Canada, and Netherlands.
That means like when it came out, right? Like the first day.
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely came out in 2019, but I feel like when they first started talking about it was probably like a few years ago. I'm gonna say October of 2019.
November 10th, 2019.
You were so close.
Damn it.
It is November 12th, 2019.
Damn it.
And that's for U.S., Canada, and Netherlands. In Australia, it came out the 19th of November.
I knew it was November somewhere around the 10th. I thought I was spot on.
Very close. It was 2 days after. How many subscribers do you think Disney Plus had just by the end of the first day of the launch on the 12th?
I say a few million because people are obsessed. Like I know so many people made the switch from Netflix. Like they got rid of their subscription from Netflix just to get Disney Plus. So like a lot, like a big huge chunk. Like I think at least it has to be over 1 million. I think.
I'm gonna go with 5 million.
It was 10 million subscribers by the end of November 12th.
Wow.
Oh my god. You know, actually, I'm not really surprised.
Beta, we're in the wrong profession because you know
Yep.
how much money they made just off the launch of Disney Plus.
Yep, we'd be millionaires, but you know, we made the wrong decision.
Damn.
They're predicting to have over like 60 million subscribers by the end of 2020.
Wow. That's crazy.
OMG.
OMJ.
Oh my god.
All right, that's all my fun facts for today. Tune in next time.
Thank you for that, Jessie. All right, so now we're gonna talk about a little bit more in depth about Disney and like shows and movies, and for example, how about adult jokes in Disney movies and TV shows, because there's a lot of adult quote jokes aimed in those films and shows that kids obviously don't understand. Like even when we were kids, when we were watching Disney, we didn't know they were adult jokes until we grew up and rewatched it and we're like, oh, so that's what that means.
Yeah, and I think it's not just Disney. I think it's all kids shows, at least a handful of times, have adult jokes mixed in, but Disney does have a lot of them.
That there's a show for Frozen in MGM Hollywood Studios or whatever it's called now in Florida, and it's technically meant for children, but they have so many adult jokes in the play because it's real people, but they like share these jokes that you like question, like, are they allowed to say that? Like, how are they allowed to say that? Like, I remember Kelsey and I looked at each other at one point like, oh my god, did he just say that? It was like very dirty.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, there's like in Frozen when what's the Kristoff, right? Kristoff, he was saying like, "Oh, I can't believe you just met somebody like you didn't even know and you're already going to get married to them." So he was like asking questions like, "Oh, what's his name? Whatever, blah 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 blah." And he asked foot size. And Anna replied, "Foot size doesn't matter." If you know what I mean.
I guess she just likes the motion of the ocean, you know?
I mean, I guess so. I don't know.
Yikes.
Disney's throwing some stuff out there, though. It's like, oh, okay.
It's not the size of the ship, it's the motion of the ocean.
I guess so. Like, for instance, in Monsters, Inc., when you see Sully coming out of the closet, there's a picture. And it's not a appropriate picture. It's like really sexual. And it's like, okay, I can't believe that was in a Disney movie. But,
It's the little things that you don't notice as a child, though.
yeah, there's just so many, like, there's so many things. And I think I remember hearing an article, like, a few years ago where it's, like, I don't know if it was Walt Disney or, like, some of the artists or whatever, they have, like, weird sexual, like, kinks. I don't know. And they were, like, throwing hints or whatever in the movies. And I don't know. I heard that somewhere, but I can't remember. So I might be wrong.
Wait, so the people who are, like, writing the stories and, like, making the movies have the weird sexual kinks?
I believe so. Or it might have actually been Walt Disney himself. I don't know. But even in the old films, like in the beginning, like Mickey Mouse, like the black and white films and short clips, like a lot of those are really sexual too. So I don't know exactly who it was in this whole Disney process that was doing that, but like, okay.
I wanna know who started it, though. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is a kid's show, but we're gonna start putting adult jokes in it too. Did they start doing it because adults are gonna watch it with their kids? Are they gonna do they put it in there?
Well, you got to make it
Just
fun for the parents too. Like who wants to
That's what
sit and watch a Disney movie with their kid? I'm just kidding. A lot of people do. But yes, Jessie.
Me.
No, which I understand, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just so many things, like, even if you just look up, like, adult jokes in Disney movies or, like, scenes and pictures, you're going to find, like, a whole list of just a lot of inappropriate stuff. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. Although there's a lot of inappropriate stuff, like, some of it's funny, but some of it's, like, okay. Like, obviously, my kid's not going to understand what that means, and that's fine. But, like, still, it's like, oh, my God. And then there's also, like, a more positive side to Disney as well. I'm not saying this is, like, a negative thing, but it's just, like, catching on as an adult. Like, okay, maybe they shouldn't have added that many things into a child's movie.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Like, it's just, the list is endless. And I'm not sure if, like, you guys have seen any or, like, can think of any specific ones, like, inappropriate adult jokes that you've seen or can think of.
Put me on the spot there.
Yeah, right?
You're the one trying to figure it out here.
I don't know. There's just so many. Like, the Dalmatians. So there's, like, 101 Dalmatians, right? And the owner of the dog, I don't know his name. And he, like, looked at his dog. He's like, 101, like, puppies? And he looks at his, like, male dog, and he's like, good job. I was just like, what?
Excuse me?
So clearly he's, like, hinting at something. You know, I'm not going to talk about that. Anyway, there's just so many. And it could literally just go on and on and on, but I don't want to think any more about that.
Yeah,
So let's move on.
it's a little crazy. A little crazy.
All right. What about some Disney stereotypes and whatnot? I know Jessie had a little bit of that.
So like every message or like every person always has like something that's very stereotypical about them, and like one of them is you should change who you are for your love interest. Like for instance, in The Little Mermaid, she wanted to be a human, but she traded her voice for legs so that she could be part of his world or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot in a lot of Disney princess movies specifically, where it's, oh my god, I found this man and I have to fall in love with him and I have to change for him, and oh, like, to be like, I don't know, not like a servant, but obviously when a lot of older Disney movies came out, like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella, it was all like about the guy. Oh my god, like, the woman doesn't have such an important role as the guys, and how the guys have to save the woman, you know. It's something that I feel like I hated, especially growing up, because obviously, like, why aren't women the strong ones? Obviously Mulan came around and she was kind of strong too, but still the fact that she had to hide to pretend to be a man and be strong instead of being a woman and being strong. Obviously, again, that's changed a lot, like with Moana and whatnot. She can do a lot by herself, and I praise that because obviously, you know, time's evolving, things are changing, and people's mindsets are becoming more open instead of narrow-minded and more accepting of a lot of things. So I'm glad about that. But keep going on.
Well, you mentioned a couple of them as you were talking. The part where you said like women were servants and everything, like so stereotypical.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's what it
Cinderella.
was back then, so you can't really like say it's stereotypical. Like that's what it was back then. Like the women did everything for the men, like clean the house while the men was at work, and like in Snow White, she cleaned the house for the 7 dwarfs as they were working. But then when they came home, they're like, "Oh, clean house. But that's just nice, you know."
No, yeah, definitely. Like, as I was saying too, like, times are changing and like people are becoming less narrow-minded and everybody's more open-minded and accepting as to, oh, women can be more strong and on their own and more independent, you know, Miss Independent Neo. Okay.
In Aladdin, Arabs are erotic, barbaric, and ignorant. Like Aladdin was thought as, because he was poor, like he wasn't as good as like the king or whatever, because he was poor and he was Arabic and all that.
Yeah, I think another thing, it might come up, but about how, like, in Beauty and the Beast, I know there's like 2 things. So there's like Gaston, where he's this strong, buff man, and, oh, I'll take care of you, Belle. Like, I'll protect you because I'm this strong, buff man. And he's like flaunting about how perfect he is. And I don't know the name of the song, like, da-da-dum, like Gaston. And he's like singing about.
It's called Gaston.
Oh, okay, perfect. It's called Gaston, you know. What
Literally,
other
the
name
song,
can
the
take.
song is about him.
Yeah. And even his friend is like, oh my god, this guy's perfect. I want to be like him. And all the people in the bar are like, what a great man, blah, 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 blah. And taking his side. And then also about how the Beast was like angry and, you know, like, a woman can't change me, like throwing his anger out there like I'm the most important. I don't know. I feel like there were movies that I liked growing up and watching, but it's like also kind of annoying in that sense.
Yeah. Well, also in Beauty and the Beast, as you were, let's like just get on that bandwagon there. She was thought of as crazy for wanting to be smart and read books and all that. Like women weren't supposed to do that back then, whereas now it's like, oh, the first woman to be an astronaut, the first woman to be I don't know, like graduate from certain schools and
Stores. Graduating from stores.
you know, being CEOs or like all this. Like women were nothing back then. We were just an object that. I'm going into feminism here. But we weren't supposed to read. We weren't supposed to be knowledgeable on anything. We were just supposed to be home and clean and take care of the men.
Have a hot dinner on the table by the time the man got home and everything like that.
And like men were our saviors, which, I mean, I guess, but women can save people too.
Yeah.
Actually, on the Washington Post, there's a little chart about movies, and it says in Disney's modern princess movies, men often speak more than women, and it said percent of words spoken in a lot of the films. Like these are from women speaking, and a lot of the percents are below 50. So that means men in the films talked a lot more than women did, and like it's weird because especially the movies are surrounded about like a woman protagonist, but they're not even speaking as much as like the men who are obviously like the strong role and going on, and even like that is just like wow, because they're again a lot of them are like older movies, but as time goes on like more women are speaking a little bit, but it's like okay.
Well, if you think about it, there are more like men characters. Like in Snow White, there's 8, at least. There's 2 women, I think, in Snow White, or Sleeping Beauty. I guess there's a lot more women in that, but it's all about the guy saving the girl, so the guy has to talk more than the girl does, because half the time she's sleeping, or half the time she was killed. Then he has to bring her back to life by kissing her. Like, true love does not mean you have to kiss him, or just because she's dead doesn't mean you gotta kiss him back to life. Also, like, being masculine means you have to be hot and buff. Like Hercules, he was buff, and so every woman was like, "Oh, give me some of that,"
Give me some of that.
Oh my god. All right. Well, I mean, like Hercules, like, oh, all these strong men. Oh.
Oh. But yeah, like, it's crazy how, like, nowadays the women are more the show than the guys. Like in Moana, she goes and saves her island, and in the other ones, like Mulan, like she goes and saves everyone from the Huns and all that.
The Huns.
That's what they're called.
What?
They defeat the Huns.
In Frozen?
Mulan?
No, in Mulan.
Oh. I'm sorry. I was thinking Hans like from Frozen. I was like, wait, what? Sorry, I was
Hans.
spacing out for a second, I guess.
Hans from the Southern Isles.
Last name from the Southern Isles.
I haven't seen Mulan in such a long time. I also heard, just a little side note, that a lot of people are hating on the new Mulan like action movie, like the live action movie, because there's so many things they cut out from the original and so many songs. And there's not even, what's the little dragons guy?
Mushu.
They're not even putting him in, right? That's what something like that.
I heard that they weren't
adding an
putting
important
him in.
character, and it's like he was literally there throughout the whole film, and the animated, why not the live action?
Well, I feel like the thing with these live actions is like the movie was good how it was. Why are we going and making it live? Like why is everything like being repeated? Like spin-offs of shows or the same movie but made differently or animated differently, or like the same storyline but it's just a different character.
Well, I mean, I feel like that can also go into another topic that Kelsey's going to mention a little bit later on about how Disney is trying to just make as much money as they can. And I think like dragging it out as much as they can, knowing that there's going to be an audience for each individual show or movie that they're going to make. Like obviously when the Lion King, the live action one came out, people were like, oh my God, the Lion King, they're finally making one. So a whole bunch of people just went and go to see it. And it's basically the same thing, just live action. And I enjoyed it. Like, obviously, there's some things that might be a little tiny bit different. But it's just, I also hear recreated for the new generation. Because obviously, like, they remaster all the old animated films. So, like, the quality looks better and whatnot. But they're trying to, like, pump it out for these newer generations. The live action films that is.
Well, if it's for the new generation, just let them watch the old ones. What's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, exactly, like, that's what I was saying. Like, they put them on DVD and HD and Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
Yeah, they like make all these remastered versions as much as they can. But again, I think it's just like a whole scheme for making as much money as they can. And they're going to do it. So like, for example, when Frozen came out, like how many spin-off shows there is for Frozen. And like, okay, like even, obviously like movies are popular, like Big Hero 6 and whatnot. And they made like a Big Hero 6 TV show and like just a little cartoon to keep like on the storyline. I don't know. It also, they're trying to think of who they're aiming for. And obviously for children, and if children are like, Mom, I want to see this, I want to watch this, the parents are going to be like, oh, okay, fine, and then spend money on it. And that's basically Disney's goal, I feel like.
But I feel like they could also accomplish that by just, I mean, I get what you're saying, but like, if it was me and I had kids, I'd be like, all right, well, we're watching the original before we watch anything else, you know? Like, you need to see where it came from to where it's going, even if it's the same thing, only in, that's not animated. It's in real people and real animals and all that.
I mean, I guess so, but like I see it from your point. If I was a parent, I'd probably do the same thing that you would and just like make them watch the original, because obviously the original is the best. But I don't know, just going off, maybe Kelsey might, I don't know. Like, I think you agree with me, but also from your point of what you would do. But again, you know, like, it's a business ultimately, so they're still trying to just make as much money as they can. And again, obviously, like, there's how many different Disney things are there? Like, individual toys, individual, like, rides at the worlds and the parks and whatnot. Like, how many Disney things do you think exist in this one world? Like, endless and millions and billions of things. And all of it is to make money. And whatever, like, it's a business. I mean, I get it. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, you have to think of what they're trying to do. And obviously it's annoying at times.
Yeah, I mean, I do see it, but at the same time, like, leave it how it is.
What do you have to say about that, Kelsey? We haven't heard your voice in forever.
Kelsey's still over there?
Oh, yeah.
Where are you?
Are you awake? Hello?
Hello?
Samantha?
Oh, we're talking about Disney. Look at that.
No, I think, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Wow, that input.
That was great, Kelsey. Keep it up.
I'm doing
All that bottled up for, I don't know.
Well, you have it here, folks. Kelsey doesn't know.
Uncultured swine.
Excuse me?
Ooh, now we're throwing so much rubbish in here.
Rubbish.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, I went to England really quickly and came back.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
I don't think so.
What you got over there? Sounds like you have something to say.
Well, I'm just trying to get some information to back up
Back up.
to back up what I'm
Recon
gonna
back
say. Basically that Disney's just it's a big company. They're taking over by storm with everything, them buying Marvel out and just having Pixar underneath them now, and they have Disney, and so it's a large company. It's a lot. But people love it. Just like Jessie, you have your favorite movies Tarzan and Little Mermaid. Okay, but think about everyone who loves Snow White, everyone who loves Cinderella, everyone who loves like literally anything Disney. They all.
Fun fact about Disney: Cinderella was his favorite princess. Just throwing that out there.
I wonder if he likes blondes.
He said that he really connected with her story, whatever that means.
Yeah, what the heck? What does that even mean?
I mean, I don't know much about his childhood, but I guess something like that happened.
He found his prince.
He found a prince.
The
shoe fit perfectly.
The shoe fits.
I move.
Wear it.
Exactly.
And you're a princess.
All right, what do you got?
I don't know. I read something earlier, and it was just like a title, like a headline. Basically saying, like, talking about how Disney is trying to shut down everyone making money off of Baby Yoda. And if you don't live under a rock, even if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, you know of Baby Yoda. You know of...
Freaking adorable. All those memes. Oh my god. Those little eyeballs. Oh my god.
He's the cutest thing ever. He's it's just he's cute. Everyone loves him. Even if you haven't seen The Mandalorian. But with that being said, that comes to people going to the website Etsy and people who can crochet or anything like that. Etsy is you can make things and then sell them. So like if you crochet and if you make animals or whatever, like as a little crochet, you can sell those. Or if you make t-shirts or...
But with that being said, then they have to shut down everything else, because you know how many like Walmart made stuff they have out there on Etsy. You know how many like different things that are exactly the same.
No,
they have on
exactly.
Etsy.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
I don't see why they just shut down Baby Yoda. If they're gonna do one, they have to do it all.
Like well, that's true, yeah. And I feel like especially for the whole Star Wars whatever industry, like that's huge and it's been around for such a long time. And
yeah, and Disney taking over Star Wars. I don't think at first Star Wars wasn't Disney.
No, it wasn't.
And then Disney bought it out because Disney's growing exponentially.
And they're trying to make as much money as they can, bastards. But I feel
they
like
can take all my money and they
like
can
for
take it
example,
now.
even on it's not even just Etsy. Like I was on the Facebook Marketplace the other day, and somebody was trying to sell their crocheted Baby Yoda, and I almost bought it because it was adorable. But like it's literally everywhere. It's endless. Like you can't stop it.
You can't.
As Jessie was saying, like they have to shut down everything. Like just endless and endless.
But at the same time, you can't, because people are still going to be doing it. Even if they don't sell it online, they'll be selling it, like, by hand, like the olden days.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, my God. Oh, stop, everybody. You can't do that. Okay, let me stop. They're not going to stop. Like
they're not going to, but it comes down to copyright. It's if you think about it, it's technically copyright.
Well, then they just do, like, the dollar store version of Yoda. Baby Yoda.
Well, I mean, like, if you don't... Like, obviously, it's theirs. They own it. But, like, if they don't want people to do it, don't even place it out there in the first place. Just saying.
Right, like, people have been characters of anything and everything. So, why is Baby Yoda any different?
Like, is Disney going to sue me if I make my own princess costume? Because I didn't buy it from their company? Huh?
Not if you make it yourself and wear it, but
okay,
if
so I'm making Baby Yoda myself. And I'm going to wear Baby Yoda. What's the
What?
She's going to make her own ears, everybody.
No, I'm talking about if you make a Baby Yoda for yourself, okay, that's fine. But it becomes an issue when you
like
make them to sell them as a business. Yes, you're making money off of making Baby Yodas,
but you
didn't come up with Baby Yoda in the first place.
Well, like...
People make copycats of the costumes and sell it. So then they have to stop that if they're going to stop Yoda.
Like, do you know how people, like, make and design their own cups and stuff? Like, how they put prints on it, or, like, T-shirts. Like, if it's not specifically Disney, but they're still selling it because people want it, it's like, what is it? The demand and...
Supply and Samantha.
Supply and... Samantha? Supply and demand. But if people want it, like people want it, you can't stop people from doing it. Like, for example, it could be literally for anything. Like, obviously it's a company and they're going to do whatever. But, like, what about SpongeBob? Like, how many things do people make of SpongeBob and, like, sell it or, like, do whatever? It's not even just Disney. It's literally anything. Like, what about people that make, who is the first person that made a clock? Like, think of all the people that make clocks and sell them. What about that, Kelsey?
We will not be shut down, Disney.
I'm not trying to argue this. I don't know why you guys are looking at me and trying to, like...
We're literally across the table staring down Kelsey like, what the heck?
But you're also like...
That's the dumbest stuff we've ever... the dumbest thing we've ever heard. Kelsey's part of Disney and we're just shutting her down.
Yeah, right? I don't work for Disney.
This is a conference.
I'm not part of Disney whatsoever.
Kelsey's trying to defend Disney.
We're just over here like, no, we're not doing that.
You can't stop me.
But at the end of the day, it is...
Sorry, headphone users.
Yeah, right.
No, like, we understand, but it's like annoying. If I were to make something and then people started copying me, like, I'd probably be pissed.
That's the thing. It's like...
But, like, what do you expect being such a big, huge company? Like, it's bound to happen. Like, you shouldn't be such a little bitch about it.
But, like... But, like, going off on the clock, it's... Someone created the clock, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But
what are you trying to say?
I don't think that... the clock is trademarked to that one individual.
Oh no, I think it is.
What about Pop-Tarts, huh?
Toaster strudels.
You can. That's going off of
What's
it.
the great value of that? Like pastry.
Yeah, can Walmart even do that? Is Walmart gonna get sued? No, because they're a big company. But
But
you
no,
know, I'm just trying to make a point.
But no, that's going off of Pop-Tarts. You have the like dollar store or the name brand version of it, which essentially is the same thing, if not similar. But there's other stores that.
Do you think that like big companies like that make store brand of the same thing and they just produce it as like conspiracy theory? You know, like they actually make the same thing, just package it differently so they could still get all the money for that.
What do you mean?
So, like, for example, are you saying that Captain Crunch berries and then how Walmart has their big bag that you can buy? No, they don't taste the same. They're not the same.
Well, they make it like a little bit different so that.
Yeah, they make it taste like crap.
Yeah, like so, like Pop-Tarts, they like sell those. What are they called?
The Dollar Tree ones don't taste good though, so they're not the same.
Are you talking about like big companies making them
Yeah,
and
conspiracy
packaging
theory.
them? No, I don't think so.
So basically, what they're saying is like, for example, Kelsey and Jessie, if you like have a Pop-Tart, obviously that's the General Mills, I believe, right? That's General Mills brand. I don't know. Kellogg's, something like that. And basically,
Kellogg's.
other like lower brand companies are taking the Pop-Tarts out of the original Pop-Tarts packaging and putting them in a cheap ass package.
No. Jesse's.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying like they create like a similar one so they could still get all the money. Like, or is there like for the store they have their own like factory that makes all these different cereals or Pop-Tarts or.
I think it's a whole different factory. You don't have
I think so, too.
Kellogg's producing Kellogg's stuff and then them producing Great Value or
Oh, no.
whatever
Oh,
like
okay, I get it
whatever
now.
Stop and Shop brand is or whatever. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I don't think you don't have the big companies doing that.
Yeah,
You
it's like another
have-
company like making their own off-brand crap. I don't know. Man, we're really getting off topic, but we're like trying to attack Kelsey over here. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't
going
know
off.
why I'm getting attacked
let's
for
get back
this.
to attacking her. Disney will not shut us down.
My
No, but
God.
I understand it. And again, like if I was a big, huge company and I had like a copyright on something and people started to do it, like I'd want to shut it down. But it's almost impossible. So I don't know how they're gonna go about that. And obviously, like only time will tell with whatever they do.
I mean, it is impossible because, like you're saying, it is a big company. You do have ways around it, but ultimately, at the end of the day, technically speaking, it is illegal to, and it's copyright
Yeah,
because
you're taking
that
somebody's work and making your own to sell.
exactly. It's again going off of like a cup or a plate or something basic like that. Obviously, there's going to be different. You can go and get a basic Walmart plate, or you can go and get a gold-plated one from I don't know what a expensive brand plate is, but you know what I mean. So it's different in that aspect of going off of just like a basic item.
But at the same
versus-
time, if all these people on Etsy are making their own version, is it technically copyrighted if they're making their own version? Because if you're saying that, then every paper we've ever written where we have to cite our quotation or use words from it, then we're technically just plagiarizing the entire world.
I also plagiarized a lot in high school and I didn't give credit to people. I just reworded it so it's my own words.
Right. So then it's not plagiarizing if you put in your own words.
Because, like, what are they going to, like, sue me for using one word that they used? Because it's the same word?
So if somebody's going off of a picture of Yoda and they make it their own, it's not going to be the exact same thing because the creators didn't make it.
I don't know. This is a really confusing topic.
Okay,
so
let us know if you guys want us to do a conspiracy theory.
a whole video on this.
We may do a conspiracy theory episode.
Yeah,
if you
because we
guys want
talked
to
a
hear
lot about this, and obviously we have a lot of opinions. Because I think we should do one, no matter what.
I think it would be pretty fun.
But going kind of off of like, oh, Disney's a business. A lot of things that they put out there, how much money they're making, and they're just trying to get as much money as they can. And I think also because Disney, I heard at least whatever I saw once on the internet, believing the internet.
Oh, the internet.
That
If
it
it's on
says
the
that
internet, it
Disney's
was
for
right.
profit, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with for profit because that's a lot of businesses, but I'm like more welcoming to nonprofit where they take the majority of the money and they use it to make something better within their company to give to the viewers and buyers and people. And obviously Disney does do that, but I feel like they use most of the money to put in their pockets.
Well, definitely. Who doesn't? I mean, besides, I guess, nonprofits, but.
Well, it's just like, it's kind of just like, oh, okay. Like, I wish they would take the money and, like, put it into something good. And I'm not saying Disney is a bad company. Like, obviously, like, people grew up on it and they gave them childhood and happy memories. But, because there's also so many positive things that Disney has done, which we'll talk about in just a second. But it's just, like, more welcoming to think, like, oh, they're using their money for something even better than just in their pocket, And obviously, like, that's another whole thing that could be talked about. But I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. Like, they could turn around and, like, give it to charities or whatever, but at the same time, like, money talks,
Yeah. It's whatever people want, and people are going to buy it regardless. So, I don't know. But talking about some of the positive things that Disney has done, obviously, like, for example, there's a show called Pass the Plate, and obviously, I haven't seen these shows in a long time, because they came out a few years ago, and I don't see them as often on TV, but, like, Pass the Plate, for example, with Brenda Song, it was just, like, a 2-minute, like, video that they have between shows, and they're talking about, like, international foods and about the greatness of delicacies in other countries, and they're just really open-minded to other places and regions, and it's, like, it's educational for all these little kids, and it's just good to show positivity to all these kids.
Yeah. So, like, Brenda Song would go around to different countries, and they would show, like, where the food came from, how to make it, and then, like, her eating it would be like, oh, like, like, kind of like a cooking show, but, like the show Good Eats. I don't know if you guys ever seen it, but, like, he talks about, like, why you should or shouldn't eat it, where it came from, and then he shows you how to make it, and then he eats it, and, like, oh, yay, yum.
Oh, yay. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just nice and educational for all those kids who obviously won't have a chance to be able to go out. I mean, being a kid, like, what are you going to go buy a plane ticket and go somewhere by yourself? No. So it's nice to just be able to see it and just be open-minded. And another thing of the magic of healthy living, so with Michelle Obama, she would, like, play basketball with, like, somebody and just talk about how to stay, like, healthy and going out to play instead of just sitting and watching TV all the time. And I mean, like, that's good because obviously Disney is aimed for kids to, like, oh, watch this TV show, watch this, because it's literally, like, a whole channel and buying things. But it's just nice that they're promoting to go out and play.
Right, because if you think about it, all their commercials were just based on Disney shows. They didn't have sponsors like Nickelodeon did, where it's like, oh, these are Lunchables. But no, they didn't. Everything was Disney related or a different show that they would. If you think about it, like, in between the shows or the commercial breaks would just be more Disney. They wouldn't have any sponsored ads.
Well, they do now, though, right? I don't know. I don't really watch Disney anymore. I grew up. But
I don't want cable.
But I mean, like, obviously, like, Michelle Obama would talk about, I mean, being the president's wife and whatnot, the lady of the house, she would talk about, like, healthy foods to eat and stuff. So I don't know if Disney has any shows or, like, commercial breaks like that anymore because I don't watch it. But obviously there's a lot of positive influences as well as a lot of messages they would have throughout their TV shows and whatnot. And a lot of it's more recent. I'm not sure if you guys, like, might remember. So, for example, in Good Luck Charlie, I remember this episode specifically where these two moms, like, came to the door to pick up their kid because, like, they did, like, daycare. And it was two moms, and obviously they were, like, together as a couple. And that was the first time that I've ever seen anything like that on Disney. And a lot of people were shocked as well as some of the people, like, it sparked a lot of backlash. And people were, like, saying, oh, you should avoid having things like this on a TV show for kids because they don't understand it. But obviously starting to push that boundary of, like, it's okay, like, it's accepting and it's normal. Like, these are things that you're going to encounter, so why not see it on something that you're watching every day, you know?
Yeah, because then your kids grow up to think like, oh, you can't have two moms. You can't have two dads. You can't have one mom. You can't have one dad. Your parents have to be together and quote unquote normal, like mom and dad. You can't have two moms.
And that was like another thing too for like This We Love is Zach and Cody, where obviously like it was a single mom raising her two twin sons, but in some of the episodes you do see the dad, and the dad came back one of the episodes, and Cody, like one of the sons, thought that, oh, they're gonna get back together and be happy, because if they're not together then they're not happy. Mom's single and alone, and she's always like lonely, and she's always having to stay home by herself or something like that. So you really wanted them to get back together because like they were divorced, and obviously it wasn't going to happen, but the parents were acting happy in front of their children because they wanted to do that for their children. Obviously, like they might have had like arguments and whatnot, and again, like thinking of that open-mindedness, like that's normal. Like there's going to be kids out there watching this show that their parents aren't together, and they're single parents out there raising their children, and so it's kind of just like more open-minded and eye-opening for all these kids that have that situation.
Well, I think Disney always had that, like, one or both of the parents always ended up dying. Like, Disney just had this thing where you can't have parents anymore. So they're always teaching them, like, this is kind of what happens when you have one mom or one dad and someone dies, or they just aren't in the picture. So if they're doing that, may as well just have both moms or both dads, like two dads and two moms.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just great to have these, because again, a lot of these things are more recent. Obviously, you haven't seen them as much back in the older episodes, and I guess there's this TV show called Andy Mack. I don't know how old it is or if it's still on or whatnot, but there was a character in it, and he came out as gay, and I think he was actually one of the first people to come out on Disney as gay. And
like in the show?
In the show. Yeah, no, in the show, like there was a gay character. And he like came out, and obviously he was scared because he's just like some like teenager, like young teenager, and he's scared of the world and whatnot and opening up, because there's a lot of backlash and people hating on that. And I think for Disney to be able to come to this point where, okay, well, now they have two moms, and now there's like somebody coming out as like to the LGBTQ community and whatnot, and it's just nice. And him even coming out like to his friend who he had a crush on, like to, I don't know, instilling like confidence and awareness of situations like this. Or coming out with like on Girl Meets World, Farkle, one of the characters, came out saying he has Asperger's syndrome. And like obviously growing up, like I don't know these things, but it's good for children to start to be aware of these, because growing up you're not going to know what it is unless you're exposed to it, right? So, I don't know, it's just good at such a young age, I think. And obviously it might be hard to understand, but if it's exposed at such a young age, they'll understand it better when they grow up.
Right, and then hopefully it cuts down on the bullying, because, like, oh, the smart kid, but he ended up having, like, some medical, I don't want to say issues, because it's not an issue, but I mean, quote-unquote issue, but, like, yeah, syndrome, but, like, kids don't understand that. So if they're teaching them in shows that they watch, then they understand it, and hopefully they cut back and like want to be friends, and hopefully like they understand, like even gay, like being gay, or part of the LGBTQ plus community. Back then there was a lot of bullying. Like you couldn't do that. It was so frowned upon, and now like it's still accepting, but there's still a lot of people growing up thinking that it's not okay. But like just be who you are, you know?
Exactly, and like obviously there's nothing wrong with being who you are, because as the world's changing and evolving, it's more accepting. And I know a lot of controversy came from the show like That's So Raven, because she had like no boundaries. She's like, well, why is this accept? Like I feel like there's so many messages in the show That's So Raven, especially being like an African American protagonist. And like I remember, like obviously I had looked it up and saw it, and just remembered that there was an episode where she was trying to get a job, but they weren't going to hire her because she was African American. And obviously there's like racism and things that still exist today. And I think from maybe when that episode aired till now, obviously people are a lot more accepting and open-minded as we're growing up, and, you know, like the generations are changing.
A lot of places nowadays are non-discriminating, like when you going for a job wise. So like race, religion, sexual orientation, like it gets, now there's a lot more places that are equal opportunity. That's what I was trying to get at.
But still, for women, like, we make less than a man does, which I think is ridiculous. We get 70 cents per dollar they make, which, how can you do that in this day and age?
We can also talk about more, like, again, controversial things later on. But obviously these things are coming up, and there's just so many things that could change and be more accepting. But even these slower, more things that are coming up as time goes on, it's just nice.
Right, like, a lot of places are changing their bathrooms so that it could be for anyone to use, where it's not just a women's bathroom, it's not just a man's bathroom, like
Gender neutral.
Yeah, gender neutral.
And I just because I know it's coming up close to the end, but I just want to say this one other thing. There was an episode on That's So Raven where she created a dress, and she like designed it herself and submitted it to like this modeling industry, and they took it and they put her face on it, but photoshopped her face onto a skinnier body and whatnot, saying that she wasn't beautiful or she doesn't have the look. And she was saying, who says that who says that's the only look? You make people feel bad that they don't like that specific look, because in case you haven't noticed, people come in all shapes and sizes and they're all beautiful. And I wanted to like end it on that note, because it's true, because everybody's beautiful in their own specific way, regardless of shape, size, gender, race, like everybody's beautiful. So I just think that's a little cute note.
I was gonna sing, but copyright, so never mind.
No singing at this episode, but maybe next time we can try to sing. We'll have like a little singing contest.
Controversial.
Yeah. We're gonna get sued.
We'll see. We'll see.
Going back to our question of the week before we end, for next week's, can you repeat the question for us, Kelsey?
Yep. The question is, if you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 items would you bring with you?
So think about that. Only 3 items. I really want it to be maybe some people, but I guess people aren't items. That's a whole nother topic as well.
Yikes. Yikes.
I love everybody, but think about that and leave us a comment again, or what you think about what we talked about, these controversies and stereotypical issues and business-wise, and, you know, Disney itself. Or what's your favorite Disney show or movie? There's so many things we talked about. Just let us know what you guys think, because we want to hear it.
Make sure to leave a comment down below. Also, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It'll really help us out. It'll help us grow. And if you would like, you can follow us on Twitter.
Which our Twitter handle is @2without_clue. And our Instagram is 2without_a_clue podcast. So we also want to thank Jessie for coming on this episode, because she's obsessed with Disney. There's Disney everything in this house.
Thanks for letting me live my dream and talk about Disney for an entire hour.
There might be a part 2 for Disney. I don't know. We talked about a lot that we can go on about.
We did. We touched upon a couple of things. But thank you again to Jess for coming on. And we will
Thanks
catch
for
you
having
guys.
me.
You're welcome.
Catch you guys next week.
We'll catch you next week. Don't forget to think about that question. All right. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.